Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. First, I want to say thank you to all my subscribers. I really appreciate all the support, all the questions and the feedback, good and bad, about the channel. The channel is still relatively young. I'm trying to grow the channel. I'm trying to provide as much information as possible. If you're new to the channel, consider liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. It's going to really help us grow. I've been in this for a while. I am not a lawyer. I am not an HR specialist or general or VSO. I'm not claiming to be an expert. I am sharing the information that I've acquired in my life experience to try to help those complete the things that they're trying to accomplish. Before I get into today's topic, there's two things I want to say and mention. Number one, I want to thank all those that are affected by the typhoon in Guam. I have a couple of subscribers out there. I want to make sure you know that we're thinking about you back here. We're trying to get as much resources as we can. We hope you guys have a speedy recovery. So I want to say that because, you know, we're all brothers and sisters in arms and we're there for you. Second, I know that Memorial Day is tomorrow. And a lot of times people really don't take the time to say thank you to a veteran. All brothers and sisters in arms, do me a favor. You see a veteran over the weekend, thank them for their service and let them know that they're appreciated. There are a lot of sacrifices that are made, and there are ultimate sacrifices that were made. There are people that are not here and they did it for you so you can remain secure and free in your own communities. So just say thank you. You see a veteran tomorrow, say thank you. All right, without further ado, let me get into today's topic. Today's topic is basically for you veterans out there watching these videos, reaching out to different companies, and you're not sure what to do. Filing a claim. So this video is going to be how to properly file a claim for compensation through the VA without hiring companies to do it for you. These companies say that they're out there and they have your back and they have your interest. But under the same breath, they are charging you 5-6% or 5 or 6 times the amount. And I'm gonna share my personal experience because back in the day, I didn't have the knowledge base basically on how to do it, right? And I tried for a very long time to get 100%, and so I kind of gave up, got sick and tired of the process, didn't understand the process, and I gave up. That's my personal experience. So what I ended up doing was reaching out to a company that said they got my back, and as soon as I got the ball rolling, all of a sudden now they're charging me whatever that difference I made. I got, let's say, $1,100-$1,200 gain. They charged me that amount times 12 months. I ended up owing a lawyer less than $13,000. So, and under the same breath, they're trying to help you, but I think that's an enormous fee for you to be charging a veteran to be, say, so-called helping the veteran, right? And after I've taken a deep dive into this, I really discovered that the process is not complicated at all. All right, so with that in mind, the last thing I'm going to say that I recently did some research and discovered, and I want to make sure I got the name right. Legislation has a pending legislation that talks about the VA Disability Guard Act. And what that does is allows the VA to go after these companies for charging you these enormous fees and also make it a criminal offense to do so. Now, this is new. There's no legislation, it hasn't been passed, but the VA can go after these bad actors and impose criminal sanctions against these companies. I hope that that is actually passed, and because they really and truly don't have the best interest of the veteran. One last personal experience. I reached out to a company. I'm not going to slander their name on here. Spoke to these folks for hours on end, providing with files for them to turn around. They didn't get back to me. Half the time, appointments were canceled. And even in the end, they told me that they couldn't do anything for me on sleep apnea, all this other stuff. And I ended up filing for myself and went to all my appointments, got all my sleep studies, and I was able to do it on my own and got 50% disability for my sleep apnea. This stuff can be done. So keep the faith, hang in there, and let's jump into how you can do this, okay? We're going to talk about, how you're going to file for primary, and then we're going to jump into the secondary. Okay, so for those who has never filed a claim at all, this is for you. So you're going to go online and you're going to create an account on eBenefits. eBenefits, create your account, create your profile, and that's where you're going to file that intent to file for a disability compensation. Doesn't take long. It takes about 10 or 15 minutes to file that claim. One of the other things that you're going to do simultaneously, you're going to create an account for My Healthy Vet. That is where you can go in and when you join the military, put in that data. When you exit the military, you ETS, PCS out of the military, you're going to put in that date to today's date, and you're going to click on everything. You want your shot records, you want everything, and you'll see the blue ribbon report, and you can print that in PDF format and you save that. You're going to need that to go back and reflect on all the VA appointments that you went to. And that way, that's going to help you accumulate that record and evidence that you're going to need in support of that claim. In the description below, I'm also going to leave the address to where you can mail and request your records from the services, from the armed services, so you can try to get as much information you can from your time in the military, whatever's there. The other piece is I want you to take a look and just remember, when you are on active duty, depending on what you're filing, reach out and find out if some of your buddies can write a statement on your behalf to say, for example, they know for a fact that you were injured, they witnessed it, that they knew you snored, whatever statement that you're looking for them to do, that is laid evidence. That statement is going to be important. You can even also have your spouse, a loved one, file on your behalf to say you snore very loud, you're shaking and yelling and screaming in your sleep, and everything that you, based on your filing, that becomes evidence as well. If you're not sure, you're looking for assistance as well, you can also reach out to the VFW. They have VSOs. These folks are certified to help you with their claim. Sometimes they send you to join a membership and you support the VFW, the American Legion. That stuff is great. But the main objective, you want to reach out and see if you can get a certified VFO, and they can kind of help walk you through the process and tell you the do's and don'ts. So just keep that in mind. Now, a couple of things. If you're going to file a claim, okay, you need to establish a current diagnosis. Number one, you have to determine that this thing is chronic and it's current, of course. If you have a nexus letter, that means you went to the doctor and they call it a DBQ, and that's basically the doctor saying that you have this diagnosis. Now we have to try to see if we can acquire this to say that statement from the doctor saying this occurred on active duty, right? So you're going to file your claim. If you don't feel like going comfortable to the VA, you can request an outside doctor. In some cases, they will send you to a CMP appointment where the outside doctor would evaluate you and your records. I'll get in that in another video series in the coming weeks. Quick note before we jump into the secondary phase of this. I want you to be aware that one of the videos I'm also going to be publishing is going to be on presumptive evidence and the PAC Act. And briefly, I'll mention there are things that the government have already identified, those presumptive things that they verified occurred, and you don't have to fight for it. You just have to register, file your claim, see the doctors, and they can assess if it occurred on active duty. The PAC Act supports that, signed by President Biden earlier this year, that really supports the veterans getting and seeking their help, dating all the way back to Agent Orange and Desert Storm and the open pits. And I'll have a video in a couple of weeks on that specifically, okay? Now, also keep in mind, this is going to be on the secondary phase. On the secondary phase, this is where you're going to file a supplementary claim or secondary claim to something that's already been diagnosed. So for example, you have PTSD, for example, and that's affecting something else. There are numbers of things that are associated secondary to your primary. I use, let's say, for example, you have PTSD and now you're having erectile dysfunction, for example. You can go for 0% and up. The idea is the fact that if your PTSD is affecting your function, you basically get those statements, get your evidence, and you file a claim secondary. Okay, so that's what we're talking about. You have a primary claim and then a secondary claim because they're all associated. Just like, for example, you have PTSD, but you're having GERD, acid reflux disease. There is a connection there. Or you have an irritable bowel syndrome with PTSD or anxiety. They're all connected, and we'll talk further about that if you like. Make sure that you have some type of diagnosis. You're going to need that nexus letter, and that nexus letter is really going to help you identify whatever those chronic pains are and discomforts. Don't want to bore you. I want to keep the video short. If you got any additional comments and questions, please leave them down below. There are a lot of videos coming. I want to try to break it up. I don't want to put it all in the same. I just want to thank all the subscribers. If you're new, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you got any questions or comments, please leave them down below. Again, thank you for watching and supporting, and have a safe and enjoyable weekend.